The rap name I went by before UYIHLO was Converse, right?
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know that. But it was this whole thing, getting into rap, Converse, I can corner verse, and it was like that. I was on that tip, But as time went, I was like, hey, I kind of outgrew the name. And, I think the trouble that was hitting me was SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah.
Every time you search Converse, you just get Chuck Taylors. You couldn't get my music. So I was like, oh, okay, what can I do? But I always used to say, even when I was Converse, I always used to say, UYIHLO, what's skr. And then a brethren of mine just called me because it was so weird. He just called me out of nowhere. I hadn't discussed it with anyone. I was just thinking about it. And then he just says, why don't you just go by UYIHLO? I'm like, UYIHLO. I'm like, the father. I'm like, that I think I, give off that energy. Of that, you understand? So I was like, okay, and I ran with it since.
Yo, what's up? This is your boy Postman, and you're tuned in to Culture's Biggest. And for this one, I'm not alone, of course. I'm with my brother, UYIHLO. How are you doing, brother?
I'm well, brother.
I'm good, man. I think for me, this one has been a long time coming because I think you've known me for a really, really long time, and you're one of the few people that actually told me to start a platform and do something like this, because it's gonna, go the long way. And now here we are with Culture's Biggest. And yeah, how are you feeling, my brother?
I don't know, as I said, no complaints. I
mean, I know it sounds like a very cliche question, but I always like to do this. I like to press my guests. Outside of the hustle and bustle, you deep down, how are you doing as a human being, more than the artist that you are?
Wait, now that's a different question. I think that's a bit of a different question. But I guess, I can't complain. I've been going through some things like any other South African is. We face daily challenges on a daily basis. But yeah, other than that, and I'm calm, man. Just working through, a lot of things that a young man like myself in South Africa has to work through. But yeah, working through it, I'm calm.
So I want you to actually touch on the name, because I've known you for a really, really long time. I may have caught you towards the end of your Converse era. So yeah, take me through that name.
I think so. No, I'm Converse. Yeah.
And how do we then become UYIHLO? Because I mean, also for me, that name is really for me, it's a bit who's this guy? They say UYIHLO. You understand that uncomfortability. So yeah, I wanna know what was the thinking behind that name?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the rap name I went by before UYIHLO was Converse, right?
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know that. But it was this whole thing, getting into rap, Converse, I can corner verse, and it was like that. I was on that tip, But as time went, I was like, hey, I kind of outgrew the name. And, I think the trouble that was hitting me was SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah.
Every time you search Converse, you just get Chuck Taylors. You couldn't get my music. So I was like, oh, okay, what can I do? But I always used to say, even when I was Converse, I always used to say, UYIHLO, what's skr. And then a brethren of mine just called me because it was so weird. He just called me out of nowhere. I hadn't discussed it with anyone. I was just thinking about it. And then he just says, why don't you just go by UYIHLO? I'm like, UYIHLO. I'm like, the father. I'm like, that I think I, give off that energy. Of that, you understand? So I was like, okay, and I ran with it since.
Because, there's also another guy. I'm pretty sure you know him by now.
Yeah, I know.
Datao.
But I mean, very much familiar.
You guys are pretty much in the same school, same era, same whatnot. Of course, there must have been that,
Yeah, now for sure. I think after the first time, Datao was like, Datao, it sounds like, who's this Datao now? Who's this Datao? But then I was like, I actually, met the brethren. I think we got a joint that never even dropped, actually, but calm brethren. And so I pertaining him.
Yeah, was there ever some competitiveness that came out of that? Some, that thing that you rappers do. You guys normally fight over nothing, where
100%.
It's battle of the fathers, or
Yeah.
I'm the real father. Like the next time I want to join with this guy, I'm gonna murder him type of thing.
Yeah, I guess not really in terms of the name. Like I said in the beginning, it was like, hey, before I actually, met him, and it was like, okay, like you're saying, understand? But yeah, man, it was just like really, he's a really, really calm nigga, and yeah, there wasn't really much tension to it, but the competitiveness, it's always there, and that just extends right through to the entire game, not just with him, but there's always that thing that we're in a sport at the end of the day.
Now, take me to, I mean, it's a bit of a, I don't know. For me, it's a bit of a crazy one, because like I said, we've come a long way, but also for the person that actually doesn't know you, where does it all begin for UYIHLO, and what's the conversation like with your parents when you tell them that, you know what, I might want to do this music thing for like a job or for like the whole way, or like did you want to do it as a hobby? Like what was the thinking then?
Yeah, kumlo line uqale, I'd say this is a pine, was a pine.
Yeah.
Eastern
Cape.
Yeah, in the Eastern Cape. And I'd say, no, actually I lie.
Okay.
Because I'd say where the inspiration really stemmed from, obviously I think when Wayne was coming out with the, I'm sure 90% of the rappers you speak to that sit on this chair are going to tell you that Dwayne Carter's like, you understand? Yeah. So yeah, it started around those times. And yeah, I think I was probably around those times, probably in the 4th grade or so, or 3rd or 4th grade, around them times. But what really sparked it is I went to my cousins. I used to frequently visit my cousins in Cape Town from my mother's side, and yeah, so they just had access to a studio, and I couldn't fathom that because that just wasn't a thing back home. I was like, oh, okay, you guys can record what? You can like spin the mic, and then the sound comes back, and you have a song, and it's an MP3 on your phone, and and so I think it started that. I came back from that, holiday, I was like, oh, okay, I know, I actually want to figure out now, how can I actually, record? How can I make music? And yeah, I think stem from that. And yeah, my pops actually got me my first mic. It was a Samsung, I always used to tell him, I'm on the timer. And then he just always used to brush it off until he heard from a neighbor that, hey, and then like, yeah. God, that was my first mic, was a Samsung, like a USB condenser mic, yeah.
And then do you still remember the first joint you did? The
first joint, I actually do. Yeah. I actually do. It was actually with are you familiar with the DO2?
Hey, I don't know what that is.
DO2, he's a producer.
Oh.
He's a producer, very prominent producer.
Yeah.
And we actually went to the same high school, so when the first song I think I actually recorded was with him. Like my memory sometimes fails me, but that's where I went. I remember going to his crib, and then like we did the thing, and yeah, got the joint, but I don't even really remember too well what it was about, or what that was about.
Now, comparatively, I want you to take me through the shift between you like being a rapper in the Eastern Cape, and now also being a rapper in Johannesburg. Like, I want you to compare the two sides. Like, what are the differences in the rap scenes in the two respective locations?
Well, I wouldn't be able to give you a really accurate, answer to that, because I left my hometown immediately. After high school, immediately I was here. But I'd say the clear differences obviously are, now we're gonna talk about the broader economics of what is available economically in Gauteng that isn't in the Eastern Cape, infrastructure, all those things which extend to not only music but everything else. And
you can also touch on like the talent pool out there, because now you like touch base with a lot of the guys there. We've seen you team up with the likes of Sonabile. You guys have done a lot of, things to try like bring attention to the Xhosa scene as a whole, or Xhosa rappers as a whole, because we've also seen like the likes of Younger Chief, Anati try to push the envelope forward. But
and hold on, Paul.
Yeah.
But I was actually having this conversation my brethren.
Yeah.
And we're actually having this conversation of how do Xhosa, obviously. And if you have a look at these different languages within South Africa, right? And then song asebenzisa ulimi elifanayo, but when you hear there's a thing of 031, there's then Pitori, there's like the different, but you won't say like, is it Tswana rapper? Zulu rapper.
All of them, man.
You understand? So, and I think it was a thing of Xhosa rapper, but not other artists don't really like limit themselves like to the different cultures. So I think that is it's a proud of our roots, proud of our culture, but it can be very limiting in a way to just say, no, I am a Xhosa rapper and I'm appealing only to this audience. So I guess even with the brethren, like back home, I think that's something to definitely think about in terms of how you position yourself in the broader, in the country as well. Because once you box yourself and say I am a Xhosa rapper, it's like you limit yourself.
But from a cultural perspective, wouldn't you say that it's kind of like important for some form of representation? I mean, if we look at like an artist like, maybe this might be the worst example, but it works. If you look at like a guy like Aries, he raps the way he does, it sounds the way he does, but in essence, you can still like attribute that to, the guys from, you can just attribute him to like PTA. Right, he's from PTA,
but he doesn't have to say it.
He doesn't have to.
That's what I mean. You can embody it, but you don't have to say it. You can hear Yandiva
he's Xhosa.
I don't have to. Like
no,
you can. You understand?
The thing that I really want to touch on is like the element of unity in culture. I mean, as divisive as it is, but we've seen it work over time, because we've seen we've also seen like the Quellas, work together, come up together. We've also seen now the North Mob, but before even the North Mob, we've seen like the likes of Tato Soul, 25K, that scene just springing out of nowhere. And I mean, to be fair, we haven't really seen much of that from you guys, because you guys just normally like pop up as individuals, and then suddenly, now we see you with like a younger chief, now you see you with like a Bud Legend, but like generally it's never been a thing of like, we know this scene to be,
But I think Cape Town has done that successfully. I think Cape Town has done that successfully.
I think so too.
That unit, the collective,
shout out to Youngster actually, because
Youngster, he just dropped his 36th mixtape, bro.
Crazy.
Come on. Youngster just dropped his 36th mixtape. You saw the units he had. He was, with the Bruellas there, was, pushing with the Bravo, it was pushing. Then you saw, the collective of, you see, Ori, Shoki, like you could, I think the best example of that for the Xhosa Nation is Cape Town.
So you guys are trying to like do the same thing, because now we're seeing you guys come outside together, even though you're not a group, but like, you making music with like a Flower Boy, you're making music, with Bud Legend and so on and so forth.
And 100%, but I have to like actively tell myself, but because it doesn't come, as easy to me. And the reason why, like you mentioned, Ulechi, the reason why I can have like a project with him is because I stay with him. We're always in each other's space, so it hasn't always been easy for me to like go out and say, now I'm going to cultivate these relationships. I've always just been a nigga that's just at the spot. I'm gonna make this music, I'm gonna get it out, I'm gonna go on with my life, go on with my business. That has helped me in certain ways, but it's also hurt me in certain ways as well. So it's like a double edge, but
Take me through the hurt.
The hurt in the sense that I think now that I look at it, it's a bit of like pride and ego that's attached to it, because like there's been plenty of times where I'm at an airport or where I'm at a club or somewhere, and like I see a Broella and then I'm like, now I recognize Broella and I know Broella's nice with it, but I'm just not gonna go to Broella and be like, yo, Broella. Nah, I'm just I'm like, you do your thing, I do my thing, we'll catch each other wherever we catch each other. So the reason why I say that is that I've seen the importance of, collaboration, the importance of like, having nibe imbumbe enye nihambe kunye.
Yeah,
Like that's really important. So I've always just had like a lone wolf mentality, but that's, you know, something that I'm slowly growing out of. But like I said, it's worked for me, and in the same way, it's also hurt me as well.
Do you think you guys? I mean, obviously, you're not the prefect of the Eastern Cape, but like, do you think you guys have what it takes to really like carve out your own type of sound? And I mean, I think with PTA, it's beyond just the linguistics at this point. They even have like a Bacardi. So like, take me through some of the things that are happening that side that a Joburger like me wouldn't necessarily like know about.
Ndingayibeka kanjani na?
I beg.
I'd say it's already prevalent.
Yeah.
Like I'd say it's already prevalent, but I think Tina, where we struggle slightly is taking it like national. You know, but I don't think that's only a struggle that we face. You know, it's a struggle that everyone faces
at some point.
Yeah, at some point. But I feel like I think it's already existent. The different pockets of culture that exist within the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape, those are already existent. Though the scenes are already there, they're already bubbling. But it's just a matter of then how do we understand?
Yeah.
To a point whereby,
Now, onto your music, because that's the part that excites me the most. Because I liken you to, I always tell you this, but you clown me a lot for loving this guy, Freddie Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why...
Can you tell them why I clown you for?
Hey,
but I've been listening to Freddie Gibbs as well. You understand?
Yeah.
He's an immaculate rapper.
he's the
But
goat.
I was clowning you because you understand
Yeah,
he had his butthole out on the gram. So I was just like, come on, bro. But
I mean, the reason why I mention Freddie Gibbs is because that's one person who doesn't actually shy away from his real life, in a sense.
Sure.
Like, you feel closer to him when you hear him rap, you know? Of course, we can't go to the States and stuff like that, but every time I listen to your music, I kind of get the same feeling, right, when I listen to your music. But with reference to songs like Bad Habits, what actually inspires like that sense of realism, or the sense of you just being, I don't know, vile in a sense, but like vile in the most like, okay, as in, I said that, you know, type of thing. The way Freddie Gibbs kind of also does it.
I think that's all perspective and environment, because our perspectives are shaped by our environment. So I'd say it's just an expression of that more than anything. Like with Bad Habits, I can't tell you exactly what, you know, struck me or hit me at the time, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write about this. But usually how it goes with the record is I'll, you know, witness something or go through something and then take that experience and translate it into the mic.
Because like, I mean, you are one of the very few guys that are really like explicit with the raps. Like the song in question, Bad Habits, there's a part, actually the beginning, it says, homie, pause. How you make a wifey when she fucking on your dog.
But that's but that's
real life.
Post that's real life. That's as real as it gets. Like I don't know what else to say, because that's as real as it gets. That's a.
I mean, I appreciate that. I could respect that. And the song Return Trip has the same similar effect. But that song kind of also came out at the height of you having some, you know, I think you were at the helm of like a public discourse of some sort. But this time around it was different from a public perspective, because it was, for the very first time, we saw like someone actually come out publicly and actually like give maybe the public a glimpse of, you know, what's actually happening behind closed doors. Because we hear that.
I think what you're saying is that normally we hear that rappers put their hands on women, not that women put hands on a rapper, and then the rapper went out and was like, yo, she did this, right? And with that entire situation, Return Trip, that was based on a real life situation where, you know, I don't want to delve too much into that, but it was
So the question is, why was it important for you to actually come out and actually do that and go the whole way in terms of?
So in my mind, I told myself, you know what, I'm just gonna actually like keep it private as I do with
anything else,
as I do with my entire life. Really, I like to keep that private and whatnot. But when it came to that, is because I followed due process. Like I'm telling you, I went to go try and get protection orders, this order, that order, this magistrate to this magistrate to that, and I just had to address that and say, this is what it is, this is the truth, and so that there aren't any narratives that pop up and it's like, oh, no, went through Khulumende, went through all the channels that it needed to go through, and I just had to address that and set it straight that we don't put our hands on women.
I want to talk about the Deep Cuts, the one that's currently out now. What inspired that song? Because it sounds
which
really
one?
The luxurious
trauma. What inspired?
Like also the title.
So I think what inspired the title really is because I was going through, a few things where I'm like, this brethren of mine like betrayed me.
Yeah.
But like, but how could this nigga do me like this? How could this one do me like this? How I felt like, I gave certain niggas a hand. I helped you. I did this. I did that. But then, like, I felt some type of way. And then I was like feeling sorry for myself. And then I was like, but now I'm more to myself. I don't want to maybe extend a hand as much as I used to. Then I was like, but this is like a trauma of some sort. But I'm also in a position of privilege because this trauma is luxurious. It's not like I'm crying about there's no bread in the bread bin.
Yeah.
Like I'm crying about like I did this and then it, resulted in that. So I think that's where that came from. It's like realizing that, maybe you're feeling sorry for yourself, but you need to realize that also, but you actually, like, even in this feeling sorry for yourself, it's like luxurious in a way, if I can put it like that, because you'd rather be dealing with that than dealing with, down and out. There's no bread in the bread bin.
Powerful, my brother. I wanna actually ask about, I think maybe this one is one of the few things that you might not want to talk about in true rapper style, because you niggas are like that. Like, what's the story with Young Chief? We've seen you guys, in studio for quite some time, and in a sense, it's safe to call that a cosign because he is your elder he's your good man in the game. So what's the story there? How does that conversation actually come about? How do you meet Young Chief to the point where you guys now lock in?
Yeah, with Utayanga, I met him through my brethren. Like as I mentioned, so he had established a relationship with him that had been, ongoing for years. So whenever I just, go to his place or whatnot, we just always go together, and that's how I, got to know Khotman. Now I was like, that's how that came about.
Music soon.
Music, I don't want to cap and say music soon, but there's like, a record or two that's been made, but I wouldn't say there's like plans for it, but like, we've made music.
The last one for me is the most important question for us as culture's biggest. What does culture mean to you?
What does culture mean to me? Yo.
You can go down the...
It's like, okay, what does culture mean to me? Okay, to me it's the preservation of your roots and heritage, right? Before we get to the hip-hop culture. I'm talking about my,
culture generally.
My culture. And it's actually funny that you mentioned that, but what does culture mean to me? Because there's a brethren of mine, just had a baby, right? And I went to his house and then Miss Rachel was playing. So Miss Rachel was...
Nope.
Miss Rachel is what Todd is listening to. Toddlers listen to it. It's like on YouTube.
Hey, brother, I don't have
kids. I'm going to take you through it, right?
I don't have a kid.
So what Miss Rachel is, I'm sure all the parents out there will know. It's like a teaching of like, there's this nice lady, kids love her. When she comes on screen, kids just like smile and like she teaches them, mama, dada, all of them. She takes them through the basics. So I was just chopping with him. I was like, but how about there's a Xhosa Miss Rachel or Zulu Miss Rachel, so that we don't have this trouble that we're having now, where a lot of, children growing up in South Africa can't even speak their mother tongue or their native tongue. So that's the lengths I'm willing to go to actually protect culture. That it starts from ubuwena ba ungubani wena, from your language, from isiko, traditions, customs, and so that's what culture is to me. It's who you are, who your forefathers have been. Obviously, culture evolves, but it mustn't evolve so much to the point that you don't know who you are. And I think, in a nutshell, what is culture to me? It's the preservation of like heritage on your roots.
Hip-hop culture?
Hip-hop culture, you see, that's where it differs slightly. It differs because it's very important. You can see I got the Timbs on, I had the New York straight cap on. I understand that's like part of culture as well. But then when we talk about the evolution, that's where it has to evolve now, because how do we then make it our own when we're borrowing from different cultures in the world? How do you make it your own? And I think that's what I'd say culture, when it comes to hip-hop culture, is to me. It's basically taking from what we've borrowed and making it our own, and having our own actual culture within the country now come through, and you can see it like, okay, hip-hop, but hip hop is
big homie, appreciate your time.
Appreciate yours.
That's it from me, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed it. See you on the next one.